doing my hair. Oh man. Welcome to Salento with Love. I'm Davide Mengoli, and you are?
Dennis.
Jennifer.
Well, everybody knows, they're famous already. In the space of a year, they've become extremely famous with a channel called Salento. So if this is the first time you hear about Salento, the link is below.
Subscribe.
Yes, subscribe and like the channel and press the little bell on Salento. So a little bit of a background with Jennifer and Dennis. Well, anyone who's been following their channel, they know probably more than me. You've been sharing everything.
Yeah.
You've been sharing the refurbishment of this wonderful house, but also you've been sharing elements about maybe applying for a visa and becoming a local and taking advantage of some of the amazing things of living in Italy. So this testimonial probably is not just about purchasing a house in Italy, but also for Jennifer and Dennis, they could share with you today, but also on their channel, how you can get things happening if you are thinking of relocating in Italy. So how was the impact of arriving? I remember in February of 2020, two. Arriving, and I remember in my first video mentioning the fact that you arrived and you only had some suitcases.
The dog.
The dog.
Are now bicycles.
And our bicycles.
What was it like, the whole idea of living in the United States, arriving here? So first of all, how did you buy the property? Were you familiar with Galatina?
No, we never came here. We just showed up after we signed the contract and we showed up.
And now that you've been here for a year and a half, you find that you are the odd one out in buying a property remotely?
Oh no.
No.
No, we meet people every week. We meet people all the time.
Was the journey stressful in any way?
No, I mean, just nerve-wracking. You don't know what to expect when you're buying a property, but everything went smooth. When we were over in the United States, when you interviewed us, when we had that consultation call with you, and we told you a couple of places where we thought, and then when you were talking to us, you kind of got a feeling of what type of people we are, active and everything, and you said, no, Galatina is going to be the place for you, Galatina, and that's when we started concentrating on Galatina, and you found the property for us.
And after a year and a half of being here, is this the right place for you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Great, so I'm glad that I was right, because everything happened remotely, but in your case, a lot of the things did happen locally in the sense that you were already here. So you witnessed in real life sometimes some of the stress and things that I manage and I handle in the background to make sure that we get to the cross line. The difference was that you were physically here. For example, in your case, you completed on the property, but you didn't get the keys of your property for probably 2 weeks, 3
Yes.
weeks?
Yeah.
And that, I'm sure, was a bit of a nerve-wracking moment. You know that the money had gone away, but the people are still living in the house, but everything was okay.
Yeah.
Well, and also you rented a property.
Yes.
So how was that process of renting a property?
Easy.
It was very
It was
easy.
very easy.
Yeah.
You just needed the 1 year contract to get the visa, so and you provided it very easily. When we signed the 1 year
It's a
contract.
requirement, and it needs to be a registered contract, so you can't just decide to show up here and then say, oh, I'll just rent a property or I'll stay in a B&B. They won't accept it at the visa office, so it has to actually be all, on the books.
Yeah, from an elective visa point of view, you either need to own a property when you apply for the visa back home,
Yes.
or having a 12-month rental contract
Yes.
registered with the Agenzia delle Entrate, which is the equivalent of the IRS, I guess, in the United States. So that happened smoothly, and you stayed in a small place, and I don't know how you did it, but I think you deserve a big prize, a big medal. Every time I talk to Barbara about you, I say, how did they do it?
Everybody asks how do we do it, but we knew we were going to move into a bigger place. But it's funny. When we bought this place, when you see the first videos of it, we took a livable place and just wrecked it.
Completely wrecked it.
Yeah, it's true. Family lived there.
Yeah.
The place was okay.
Yeah.
You could have just moved in.
Yeah.
But what about now? What do you think about now?
It's great.
Well, now you can call it home.
Yeah.
I guess, which is very important.
It's still a work in progress. There's still a couple of things we have to do, decorate a little bit, but the basics are here now.
But it's great the fact that it
Yeah.
happens
Yeah.
gradually.
Yeah.
It's just like you get married. I don't know. In my case, you buy a house, or and then you get in and you've got absolutely nothing. Sometimes you've got nothing. You don't even have the money to have something.
Yeah.
And so it happens gradually. But that process that that gradual progress allows you to then make the right choices as
Yes,
well.
and not rushing, yeah. it's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, I think the decisions we made where we put stuff and everything was like spot on. We did the best we could with the space, and I think we really utilized everything. You know, as far
Really.
as like the big kitchen and, you know, the
Planning things out, I think for us, it was important to be here, because if we were away and then we just showed up when it was done, for us, because we were gonna be living in this property, we get funny like that. We like things
So
a
a little bit
certain
more
way.
bonding.
Yeah, we like things a certain way, and like, I really would like this done, if you could do this instead, and for us to be able to change that. But you have to be able to be here through the whole process, and, you know, I think that because we were here and we were on site, that was helping, you know, things get expedited a little bit more than if we weren't here, because then it would be, you know, communications and things like that.
So everything was good.
Yeah.
And I remember in the first consultation where you're still in the United States, you know, you were saying that you want a property, but you would like the idea of having potentially a section of the house that could be for the kids or maybe for rental. What's the setup of this property?
So we have our property up here with our own entrance, and then we have downstairs a separate apartment that has 2 entrances. So, and it's right next door, so if it's the kids and they're staying, then they can just, you know, beep beep, come upstairs and have coffee and eat with us, and then beep beep, they can go on their way. And there's another entrance out to the court on the backside, that they can have some outdoor space, or if somebody's renting and they have an animal, you know, a pet, a dog, that they can just walk outside, and it's on the ground floor, and they have a little garden. So
because in the beginning we thought maybe we could connect the properties, you know, have the staircase go into the apartment, and then, you know, you even suggested, no, it's better to keep it separate. And you're right, it is better to keep it separate, because it's potential rental income in the future. You don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
Or, you know, I might have a family member live there, or I might rent it. We just don't know.
Even from a selling point of view, that property could just be sold and you're left with the upstairs, and now that it's been remodeled, you don't need to worry, you can bring that equity back in. So there's some good strong points there. How would you describe the experience from when you contacted me the first time to getting to the cross line today? Be honest. I can edit the video, so if you say something horrible, you will never hear it.
Well, it's different than what we expected. Not that it's a bad different, it was just not, like when we came, I don't know, you think of things being a certain way, and then you finally get here and you're like, this is real, you know. Now we don't have a house, and we rent an apartment, and we're living in an apartment, and we have nowhere to live, like really our own place.
Well, you definitely can't do something like this yourself. You need somebody to navigate the process.
We could have never.
You could never get all the contractors,
We could have
everybody
never
together.
done this on
You
our
just
own.
can't. It's impossible. You need somebody there to be the foreperson like you to get the contractors in line and do it.
And to have everything arranged, because it is a longer process here than it is in the United States, without a doubt. In the US, you could buy a plot of land and in 6 months have an entire house built.
You must have magic wands in the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear that people are struggling in the United States to find a carpenter or a plumber, if they're called a plumber, but probably building from scratch.
If
is
you
little
have
bit
a
different.
builder, if you have like a home builder.
So we're in July, and I believe work was started here in the middle of August of last year.
Yeah, it was probably like the end of July, they started to break
Yes,
something.
end of July, beginning of August, I think it was the beginning of start raising the doors and doing quite a lot of smashing up in the property. And you've been in here for probably over a month now.
Yeah, since
Probably almost 2 months.
Yeah.
2 months.
So it was almost giving birth. So 9 months from start to finish. This is never going to happen again. 9 months is definitely too short.
That process also depends on what you want to do. If you just want a light refurbishment, obviously it can be fast. But we ripped it. I mean, you saw the videos with pipes going through the thing. I mean, it's like building from scratch.
I get a lot of questions like that on my channel about how much does it cost to refurbish a property, and I always say it's not going to be that expensive. It depends on what that property already has going on, you know. I mean, obviously if you have real structural issues with a property, you really love it, you say, you know what, I don't mind, I really love this property, it doesn't matter what it costs to, you know, fix that, I would really love to have this property restored to its original splendor, you know. So that, of course, something like that is going to cost a lot more. But in our case, we just wanted everything to be done from scratch. I didn't want to have to worry about plumbing. I didn't want to have to worry about pipes. I didn't want to have to worry about electric not being sufficient. So we just
gutted all out.
while we had it open, we said we might as well, while we have it open, get it all done. And it was just amazing to watch the entire process and being here and seeing, the plumbers, how they dug the holes in the floor and the walls, and the electricians were like, this place is never be finished.
It never worries me. I can see the worry and the concern in the faces of a lot of my clients, but it never worries me. Things that just come together magically and it just happens. If you have the right people on board. Your testimonial is not just about purchasing a property remotely, which you have done that, choosing a location as a result of the consultation, going through the entire refurbishment with us. But how would you describe to anybody who's thinking, regardless from where they are in the world, living in Italy? Because you are actually, a lot of people buy a second home, maybe in 3 years, 5 years, they're going to retire, maybe they want to do a few months here, a few months over there. You've gone full in. Bye-bye United States. And you are here in Italy now. Also, you've become an Italian citizen
Yes,
now.
I got my passport.
How would you describe the experience? Because it is obviously a different world. I lived in England for 33 years. I remember first year, second year for me was pretty hard. How would you describe your experience now, a year and a half in?
We had like a good support group around us because we met a lot of people, and you and Barbara, took us in as like family. We consider you family, and it made everything like really easier. We made a lot of friends around here.
The culture is different, obviously, because you're in a different country, but it's no different than really being in the United States. Everybody gets up and goes to work in the morning. You still have to go to the grocery store, right? Buy your groceries. So living here isn't that much different than living anywhere else. There's still the same things of life that you have to do. I think that what scares people the most, because in the United States, and especially the culture of the United States, is that the United States is the only place in the world to live. And if you leave there, the world is just an awful, terrible place, and they kind of, the media has something to do with it. And I think that people need to not be afraid, because there's still grocery stores, there's still, you still go out to the restaurants, you still go to the same places that you do in the US.
Cost of living?
It's
much cheaper.
a lot less. We've been figuring it out. I think it's 75% less.
And the standard of living, because obviously this is another stereotypical thing, we are in south of Italy.
Right.
And people are scared of south of Italy. What do you think about Puglia? Because we're in the region of Puglia. What's your feeling about the quality of living?
Well, I guess it depends on what city you're in, because you can be in a very small, remote town that doesn't have a lot of residents in it, and then you can be in Lecce, or go to Bari, or where those are more like real cities. They have universities like cities in the US, and they have big corporations that are set up there, so they have a lot of people that work in these places, so they're hustle and bustle cities, just like you would have in the United States. But the difference here is the way that we lived growing up in the United States, not that many years ago, 5 or 10 years ago, because we're so young. The way that you have that feeling of safety, for example, there's not real crime here. Like, you don't have that same fear that you would have in the United States. They'd say, oh, well, I'm going here, I have to worry. It's a lot safer. It's just different. The good different. It makes you feel good when you're out and about, and then you almost can't relate to places where you hear all these other things happening, and you say, how could we be so removed from all of that? But
wow.
In a good way.
Fantastic to have you here. You are creating new bonds, new friendships, new knowledge, and also I know that you are helping other people to overcome and probably make the same steps. So subscribe to the channel, because Jennifer and Dennis can be probably pivoting in you making that choice. It's not easy, but if you've done it, or if you do it, once you do it, you cross the line. And you can always go back. It's always like cutting your hair. You never need to be worried. They grow back again. So you can always go back to the US if you really want to. But anyway, it's been amazing. So it's been a fantastic journey. all I could say is it's wonderful to have you here in town. We are now by the water, so if we don't see you for 3-4 days, we start missing you. So it's fantastic to have you here. It's lovely to see as well. There's a group of people coming together and bringing their own cultures and knowledge, and you have definitely done that. Both of you. You are a professional, obviously. You are a doctor. You are a personal trainer. So both of you have brought in so much when it comes to knowledge, experience. And also great to see when your kids come over, who knows, maybe they will come over and they will never go back.
Soon.
So, fantastic. What would you like to say to wrap it up?
Don't wait.
If you've been thinking about it, do it.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of properties that, the good properties, well, they're all good properties. They have, different places have different benefits. But if you're looking for a specific place or a specific property, don't wait on it, because people come and they'll come here for a visit, and then all of a sudden they buy one property, 2 properties, and it's as easy as that, and they just go. So
yeah, rare properties like this are very difficult to come about. So making that quick decision, that's why remote purchasing really works. Sometimes you're thinking, oh, we'll probably visit in 6 months, a year, or we'll leave it for 3 years. Well, some of these properties, once they get snapped up.
that's what you told us on our call. He said, if you don't decide, it's being sold tomorrow, because I already have a list, because they have a list of people that are looking for properties.
Don't wait. If that is what you're thinking, take the jump. Fantastic having you on the channel. Like I said, subscribe to Salve Salento. I don't know what direction Salve Salento is going to go, but make sure you follow the channel. All right. Until then, subscribe to Salento with Love. Just press the little bell below and
Stay safe wherever you are.